Hi, I have two questions I want you to answer. Can you figure out problems in your own golf game and correct them yourself? The second question I have for you, distance or direction, which is more important in your short game, and why? If you cannot confidently answer each of those two questions right now, you'll be able to in about 5 or 10 minutes. Suggs, the PGA Master Teaching Professional here at Meadow Links Golf Academy in Cincinnati. I've helped many of the region's best players improve a lot. I've helped two sophomores win their state high school championship here in Ohio over the last several years. One a young lady from Middletown, and one a young man who's won it twice here from the Westchester area of Cincinnati. One of the reasons they've improved so much at such a young age is because they're better with their distance control. So I'm glad you're here with me today. Now watch this. I'm going to play 9 holes here, and I'm 40 feet from the hole because that's the average distance a tour player is away from the hole after their approach. So let's see what I'm going to shoot here on these 9 holes. Now those putts all look pretty good, and the way I'd like you to think about this is, do you remember the old XY axis in 5th grade algebra, 5th grade math? Here's the x-axis, here's the y-axis. Those putts all look pretty good here as we look along the y-axis. So let's come up and take a closer look at them though. Here they are. Now I'd like you to stand around here, over here on the x-axis, and from this perspective now, take a look with me at these 10 putts, or excuse me, these 9 putts. They don't look quite as good, do they? You see now some of my longest putts are up to 2 or 3 or 4 feet, whereas when you came around over here and looked at the 9 putts from the y-axis, now you see none of them are more than about a foot away from the hole in terms of direction on the x-axis. So as it looks here, you'd probably agree with me, I might miss 1 or 2 of these putts. So for these 9 holes, hitting it like a tour player, averaging 40 feet from the hole, I'm probably going to shoot about 2 over. I might miss 2 of these short ones, but I did make a birdie, so I'm shooting about 1 over. But watch this. If I don't improve my direction at all, I just improve my distance control. Now you see the longest putt I have left is about that 2-footer, and now I've made another birdie, and I have no putts that I'm going to miss for my par. So now you see I went from shooting 1 over, if I'm not perfect with my distance control, to where now I'm shooting about 2 under, simply by improving my distance control with my putt. Let's see me hit 9 chips, and I'm going to bet you I'm like the amazing Kreskin, if you remember him when we were all kids. I can predict in the future that none of these will be more than 1 or 2 feet from the hole. I guarantee it, for all of you, for all of us playing golf, on the x-axis. But on the y-axis is where we might tend to miss 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 feet short or long. So let's see what I shoot for these 9 holes with a chip shot. Again, 41 feet from the hole. Well, that's good news. I made the last 2 in the hole for a birdie. So again, now the same principle applies. Distance, you're learning now, is much more important than direction control when it comes to your short game. And you can figure this out on your own when you're playing and practicing on your own, especially on the golf course. So let's look down the y-axis, and again, you see none of my shots ended up more than 1 or 2 feet away from the hole on the old x-axis. But let's look over here and stand on the x-axis so we can look across the y-axis, and you see now I'm up to some 4, 5, 6 footers, not because I was so far off with my direction, but because I was so far off with my distance control. So now let's see, and so you would say here, I made 2 birdies, but I'm maybe going to miss maybe 1 or 2 or 3 of these putts, so I'm going to say I'll make 2 bogeys, 2 birdies, the rest pars on these 9 holes, so I'm shooting even par for these 9 holes. Now let's see what it would be like though if you go back and stand on the y-axis, look up and down the y-axis. I don't improve my direction 1 iota. I just make sure all my chips were the perfect distance. And now what you see, I only have 6 balls above ground. I made 3 birdies, no hint of missing a short putt here for my tap in for my first putt after a good chip. So now I'm shooting 3 under rather than about even for those 9 holes. This is how you can figure out in your own game how to improve and really how to lower your score. So remember, in putting, distance was more important than direction. And then we stepped over here, still 40 feet from the hole like a good tour player. Chipping, distance was more important than direction. Now let's see the third type of short game shot, a pitch shot. Let's see if distance is still more important than direction in a pitch shot. So now you see again in pitching, just like in putting and chipping, distance is going to be more important than direction, isn't it? Remember, I didn't have any tap-ins here after these pitches. I was probably going to shoot about 7 over for these 9 holes, but I do nothing but improve my distance control. And look what you would be doing. Now you would maybe only miss 1 or 2 of these putts. Instead of shooting about 6 or 7 over for 9 holes, you're shooting about 1 or 2 over. Now you know the answers to those 2 questions I asked you just a few minutes ago. Can you figure out in your own game ways to fix your own problems? Now you certainly can in your short game with all 3 short game shots. And secondarily, which is more important, distance or direction in your short game? Now you know for sure. About 30 years ago, I played golf with one of the LPGA Hall of Famers. She grew up playing a lot of golf with Bobby Jones. And she mentioned after a bad drive one day, I said, "Doesn't that bother you?" And she said, "Oh no. All par golf is, Joel, is getting your drive out to where you can swing at it in play, getting your next shot on or around the green, and then getting down in 2 shots. So what you've seen here today really helps you understand that getting down in 2 shots around the greens means hitting that first shot, be it a putt, chip, or a pitch, the exact distance. To find out more in the future, have me back as the Golf Channel instructor, and I'll show you more about how to get better at this distance control. The first step is understanding that distance is more important than direction, and again, you can figure this out on your own now. And if I'm not chosen, I'm looking forward that hopefully you'll choose Charlie Sorrell from Georgia as one of the instructors, because nobody talks as nice as Charlie. He's a great Southern gentleman. Again, I'm Joel Suggs from Cincinnati, Ohio at Meadow Links Golf Academy. Take care. Hello. Did you know that how you practice is quite often more important than what you practice? I'm going to give you a great tip here as soon as the sun comes up. I'm Joel Suggs, the top 50 PGA Master Teaching Professional at Meadow Links Golf Academy in Cincinnati. You'll love this. The sun's come up. Now I can show you how to practice in a very effective manner early in the morning by using the dew as a fantastic learning aid for your putting. You can see the track through the dew of the ball. I used to do this as a kid in Lake Hills Golf Club in Billings, Montana. It really helps you see that the speed determines the proper break to use in your putting. So how you practice is quite often more important than what you practice. Get out there early in the morning in the dew, you'll become a much better putter.